Okay, I'm going to go over the distributive property from lesson 40. The distributive property of rational expressions that contain negative exponents. Don't let all those words scare you. It's not so bad. So some of your problems, we talked about this in class. Sometimes they'll ask you to write all the answers with the exponents as positive. Sometimes it may ask for the exponents to all be negative. It may also ask for in your answer to have all the variables in the numerator. The variables are the letters in the numerator, and sometimes it will ask to have all of the variables in the denominator. So not only do you have to pay attention to what the answer to the problem is, but you have to write it in the way that they're asking. For example, we're going to use the distributive property to expand 4x to the negative 2 over y to the 4th. We're going to distribute or multiply that by y to the 4th, x squared minus 3x to the 4th, y to the negative 2nd. And then they're asking in this one to write all the answers with the exponents positive. So just a little reminder, the exponents, of course, are these small numbers right here, and the variables are all the letters. In this case, we have an x and a y. So we're going to distribute and then write all the answers with the exponents positive. So first we remember that this y to the 4th x squared is as if it was over 1. So we're going to multiply this fraction by this fraction. We multiply 4. There isn't a number here, so it's just 4 times 1. X to the negative 2 times x to the 2. We add those, which gives us x to the 0, which is equal to 1, because anything to the 0th power is 1. So we don't even really have to write that in there because it's being multiplied. If it was being added, we would, but because it's 4 times 1, and 4 times 1 is just 4, we can leave it alone. So then we have a y to the 4th, multiplied by y to the 4th times 1. That's what will be in the denominator. And now we're going to go ahead and distribute it to here, and we're going to watch this sign. We're going to put our minus sign there and do again. 4 times 3 is 12. X to the negative 2 times x to the 4th is x squared. Y to the 4th times y to the negative 2 is y squared. Now we can simplify this a little bit farther because these two y to the 4ths cross off. And then it asks us to write all of the exponents as positive. So in this case, they're already all positive. So we can leave our answer 4 minus 12x squared over y squared. So that would be the answer to this distributive problem, writing all the exponents as positive. If it had asked us to have the answers with all the exponents negative, then the answer would be 4 minus 12x squared y. Oops, I'm sorry, y. I said that wrong. It would be 4 with all of the exponents negative. It would be 4 minus 12. We'd have to put this one on the numerator, so we would switch the signs to negative, and we would have to switch the x squared to the denominator in order to get a negative exponent. I know that might be a little bit hard to see. It's 4 minus 12y to the negative squared over x to the negative squared. That would be if you wanted to write all the exponents as negative. Let's do another one that maybe you can see a little better. This time we're going to do the distributive property and write all the answers with all the variables in the numerator. So all the letters have to be on the top part of the fraction. So we have x negative 2 times y multiplied by y to the 4th over x squared minus x to the 4th over y squared. And we're going to write the answers with the variables in the numerator. First, let's just go ahead and distribute it. Keep in mind that this is like as if it's over 1. So we have x negative 2 times y to the 4th, which gives us x negative 2y to the 5th. 1 times x squared on the denominator gives us x squared. We're going to subtract. We multiply these two numerators together, and we will get x squared y. Multiply the denominators together, and we get y squared. We're going to simplify first before we switch the variables to the numerator. We can see we can do the x's. When we have x to the negative second over x squared, you remember that you subtract. You say negative 2 minus 2. So that's going to give us x to the negative fourth. So that's x to the negative fourth times y to the fifth minus, now we have a y on the top and a y squared on the bottom. Again, we subtract the exponents in order to find out what the new exponent will be. So we have 1 minus 2, which is negative 1. So we have x squared y to the negative 1. Now there aren't any denominators in this answer, so we have already gotten it to where all the variables are in the numerator because there isn't any denominators. So that would be your answer. We can also do one more in which we're going to try to get all of the variables in the denominator. They're asking you to do the distributive property to this problem with the variables in the denominator. So for this one, it looks like this. K squared times b over p to the negative second multiplied by ab to the negative first over k squared minus 4p squared over b. Now before we worry about getting the variables in the denominator, let's just do the distributive property. Multiplying those two numerators together gives you k squared. This b is as if it's b to the first, so 1 plus negative 1 is 0, and b to the 0th equals 1. So we don't have to put a b here, but we do have to remember to put that a. And then that would be over p to the negative 2 over k squared minus, let's multiply these two. Don't forget that when you distribute, you have to remember to do it to multiply by the second one. So we have 4k squared b p squared all over p to the negative second times b. Now we can start simplifying these fractions. On here, the k squared crosses off, so that leaves us a over p to the negative second. Subtract. Now we have to look, we can get rid of the two b's. The b over here can cross off with that one. And we have p squared, so we have 2 minus a negative 2. 2 minus a negative 2 equals 4. So the answer to this one would be 4 k squared p to the fourth. Okay, this is the answer. However, they want us to write all the variables in the denominator. Right now, we have this variable and the k squared and the p squared are all in the numerator. So in order to transfer that down to the denominator, we have to switch it to a negative exponent. So we'll leave the 1 on top, and we'll say p negative 2, a negative 1. We're going to subtract. And now the 4 can stay on the top. It is not a variable, it is a number. The variables are just the letters. But we do want to put the k squared from the numerator down to the denominator, so we switch it to a negative exponent. And same thing with this p. We switch that one to a negative exponent. So this right here is equal to this right here. But this is the answer they want because they want all the variables in the denominator. So everything is down in the bottom.